Okay, the hair is flat as a freaking pancake today and I just can't deal. I curled it and I think my hair is too dirty that it's just so heavy, but I have plans with my friends today and I never get to see my friends. And I'm like, we're gonna have to curl the hair again. Okay, you guys, today's video I'm excited for. We're gonna be talking all about makeup releases that I'm glad I skipped. I am pre-filming this in hopes that I can post every single day in December for Vlogmas. So I'm filming in November, but hopefully things are just going swimmingly with Vlogmas. And I will say, as I was scrolling through, I mostly looked at Trend Mood, but also like Makeup on Your Radar. I was looking at their Instagram page and I was like, gosh, I like just didn't really care about a lot of releases this year. And I will say, like, the new just wasn't super exciting to me, and I was kind of struggling to find things to talk about. But then I feel like I got to scrolling and I was like, oh yeah, this and this and this and this. So how many things do I have to talk about today? Let's take a peek. 16. I feel like that's a decent amount. I feel like just with like most of these things, with the majority of them, it's like, yes, I'm glad I skipped them, but I feel like I was tempted, but like also not too tempted by a lot of these. But let's just get into the products. So if you're interested, stay tuned first. If you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, palette themed content, or just chit chatting about makeup, I'd love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Okay, you guys, this is really in no, can you tell like my hair is like really bothering me? This is in no particular order. Because I feel like it's not even like in the order that these things release. But we're gonna start with, should I scoot over? Probably. Okay, we're gonna start with this right here. This is, and I don't even have like the name of everything, I feel like saved well, but this is the Gen Nude Highlighting Blush from Bare Minerals. I was so excited when I saw these release and I almost purchased immediately, but then I was like, no. Been trying to like save more money, been trying to not buy everything. I deleted the Sephora and Ulta apps like off of my home screen, which made such a big difference this year. But I saw these and I was instantly intrigued because I love a glowier blush, and I feel like a lot of my like blush toppers are like some of my favorite like things to add to the cheek in my collection. So I was like, oh, this looks so beautiful. Also, I feel like I've been like more intrigued by Bare Minerals lately. Maybe it's because I'm getting older. Or maybe not. But then I saw Lauren May Beauty try these on her channel. I can't remember which shade she tried, and she was like, this is literally not it. I do know she went on to try more shades and I think liked them better, but that just kind of like put me off of wanting to buy these. And I'll be honest, like I haven't really thought about them since. Looking at them now, I'm like, definitely didn't need these in my collection, so I'm glad that I didn't buy those. This is something I definitely almost bought multiple times during the last Sephora VIB sale, and it's the Haus Labs blush. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because I will say this year I have just not been as excited about my blush collection as I have been in years past. And I feel like I definitely like to use my face palettes more than my single blushes now. So I feel like this just would have been another single blush to add to my very large single blush collection. And I just don't think I would have gotten a ton of use out of it. I was really looking at, there was like a watermelon shade, which I thought was so beautiful. Really gave like sunburnt blush sort of vibes, which was definitely what I was loving the last couple of summers. But again, preferences changed a little bit this summer. I was definitely loving, not my hair, that's for sure. I was definitely loving more of like a coral or like a peachy sort of blush this year, rather than like something more red based. I'm really happy that I didn't end up purchasing that. I've heard nothing but good things about this blush formula. I don't promise I'll never purchase it again, but I just have not been excited about single blushes this year. So I'm very glad that I did not purchase that. Kind of riding that same blush train. I remember last Sephora VIB sale, I was like, there were so many blushes releasing and I was so excited about them all. And then it turns out I wasn't as into blush this year. But from Summer Fridays, it is the Blush Balm and Cheek Stick. I feel like I heard nothing about these. Like, I feel like I heard them release. I don't even know if I saw anyone review these, but I feel like I've heard nothing about these scents. And while I have been enjoying my cream blushes this year, I really enjoy like my Say Dewy blushes. And I just feel like I absolutely didn't need these, because I totally forgot these came out this year until I was scrolling through, and I definitely didn't need to purchase them. They were at a good price point, if I'm remembering correctly. I think they're at like $28. But I feel like if I were to have picked one, like Warm Desert would make the most sense, because Again, not really into like the sunburnt sort of blush look, but then like, I don't know if that would have even worked for me. So I'm glad I didn't buy that. And then another blush I'm glad I didn't buy, and I seriously went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on the Dior blushes, especially when they released like more shades in the line. I really wanted the cherry shade because I was like, oh, I love a sunburnt blush, but then I didn't love a sunburnt blush this year. And then I feel like I kind of went back and forth on the shade Rosewood as well as the baby pink blush as well. But it's like a $40 blush, maybe 45, and like I just wasn't into powder blush this year, so I feel like it just would have been a blush that I used a couple times so I could get my review and then like moved on to the next thing. So I'm glad that I did not spend my $40 on that. Okay. This I will say, when I wanted to wait to buy the Sol de Janeiro like body mists, a part of me does still feel like I wish I did get these, but I watched Lauren May Fragrance's channel and her review on these, and I was like, oh, maybe I like really don't need them. Plus I purchased so many different fragrances this summer. I'm still working my way through last summer's body mist from Sol de Janeiro. I loved the packaging. I loved the colors of these. Do I think I would have enjoyed them and gotten use out of them? Yes, but because I purchased so many other fragrance products this past summer, I definitely did not need to add these to my collection. And it's not like I sit there and think like, ooh, I really missed out with these. So for that reason, because I would have bought all three. So for that reason, I'm really glad that I didn't purchase these. If you guys purchased any of these, I would love to know what scent you got and what your thoughts were though. Oh my gosh, you guys, more blush. More blush. I'm telling you, it was the year of blush. And I learned throughout the year that it was not the year of blush for me. Like I just was not as into it. But the Huda Beauty lip blush lip cheek stains. I love Huda Beauty. I wanted to test her products. I get excited about every product that comes out, but as I look at these, so I ended up not buying. I almost purchased day of launch and then I ended up not buying, and I'm so glad that I didn't buy, because now I look at these and I'm like, I feel like the deepest mauve tone shade looks the most pretty to me and most unique to my collection, but I have just so many blushes in my collection. I just don't think I would have gotten enough use out of this to make it worth it for me. And then similar to that, more blush, I have the Nars blush, the Afterglow liquid blush. I wanted this, almost purchased, didn't. Then I was in the store and I was swatching the shades, and I literally was carrying the shade. I forget what shade it was. It was like the coral shade. I was literally carrying that around the store, and I was like, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy this, I'm gonna buy this. And then I picked up a few more things and I was like, oh, I don't want to spend quite this much. What am I gonna get rid of? And then I was like, not the Nars blush, but then I eventually did decide not to get the Nars blush. And I thought about it, and then I saw Nars come out with their holiday set where they had the minis, and I thought about buying again, and I was like, ugh, I just don't need it. And I've heard so many people talk about how you really need to build these up because they aren't that pigmented, which I will say, swatching them in store, I would agree. They're definitely more of a sheer formula, which I think may have worked well for me, especially when I'm thinking about days that I would just do concealer and brows, but I wanted a color on the cheek. I think I could have, if I had this, so I think I would have gotten a lot of use out of it. Yes, but again, I have so many blushes in my collection, both powder as well as cream / liquid, to get through, and that shade is really similar to my Glossier Cloud Paint in the shade Beam, the one that I was looking at Nars, and I'm still not through Beam. So like, let's get through that before we think about purchasing more. Okay, you guys, who remembers this launch? First of all, this penis-shaped lip balmy stick was like $95 or $99, but like, I just thought this was the most hilarious launch I've ever seen. I think I've heard the packaging on this is actually like pretty heavy, pretty luxe, and like for the humor of it, I really kind of wanted this. Or like, if I was getting married, I definitely would have wanted that, which I never will ever again, but I would want this for like my bachelorette party. But it's $95, and it's literally a penis shaped lip product. So like, who could I actually use this around? Probably no one. So definitely glad that I didn't waste my $95 on that. Oh my gosh, another blush. Clearly I'm really glad I didn't buy a lot of blushes. So clearly I had a learning about myself this year that blush just ain't it for me right now. But the Giorgio Armani blushes, I saw Lauren May swatch some of these on her cheeks. She did like a whole cheek swatching video, and I loved the way the Armani Beauty ones looked on her. They weren't really on my radar, and then I watched her swatch them and I was like, ooh, that's so pretty. I feel like I need to go pick one up. But I think these are probably in like the $40 to $50 range. Very expensive. And again, I just don't really care about blush like I did. It's sitting right in front of me. I like my face palettes. I like my Nars face palettes. I like this formula. I don't need these powder blushes in my life anymore. Okay, moving on to not a blush. These I almost purchased. They're the Maybelline lifter glosses. They had an expanded shade range for the summertime, and I love the lifter gloss. So if I had purchased these, would I have gotten use out of them? Yes, but I have so many lip products, and I've made good headway on getting through some of my lip products this year. I've finally gotten like the majority of my lip glosses into one drawer. I feel very accomplished with that, but we don't need to be adding a ton more gloss to my collection to just fill it back up again. So I will say I had I had 4 out of the 5 of these in my cart at Ulta. They were on sale, like either buy one get one half off or buy one get one free, and I was like ready to click purchase, and I had to have a moment with myself where I was like, you're gonna have to share this on your makeup rehab series. Like, do you really need more lip products? Like, no. Are you actually gonna use these? I'm looking at these now and I'm like, if these, which I was in a Walgreens the other day, and I will say they had the I think it's the gummy bear shade, and I almost purchased it in store. If these are still available, like if this is a permanent addition to the line and these are still available next summer, I make no promises that I won't purchase this, but I'm really glad I didn't purchase them this summer because it allowed me to focus on other things in my collection and get through some lip glosses that are older. But I really feel like they crushed it in all of these shades. Like, I love that like milky peach. I love that fiery orangey red. I love the hot pink, and I love the baby pink. This is something that still might come into my collection in the future, but I'm glad I didn't buy it this year. I'm glad I didn't impulse buy these because I definitely have enough gloss to my collection to get me through still probably 50 years. Okay, you guys, next up we have these ones from Merit, the Merit oils. I don't like the Merit oil. I've gone through a full one. I felt like it dried my lips out. I thought it was a terrible formula. I feel like they're really expensive for what they are. I feel like they have a terrible doe foot applicator. It's like the smallest little thing. And yet, when Lauren May Beauty was talking about the pH changing one, and she had it on her lips in a video and it looked so beautiful on her, I was like, I need that gloss. I need that lip oil. So I had it in my Sephora cart. Almost purchased it, but ended up taking it out of the cart before I purchased a few other items. So I'm really proud of myself for that. And ultimately now, like, I can't even remember what that looked like. And while I'm sure it looked beautiful, because if it looked that beautiful that it instantly made me log on to Sephora to put it in my cart, like, it definitely looked really good. Maybe it was just because Lauren May has really good pH and it would not have looked the same on me. But I wouldn't have enjoyed the formula even if I liked the shade, so it would have been a complete waste of $24. So I'm very glad that I did not buy that. Ooh, okay. Next up we have the Pat McGrath bronzers. And I feel like I just wanted to buy these because, well, I love bronzer. And I love to test new bronzer. And this is one too that I don't promise I won't ever purchase in the future. But I feel like I didn't hear like rave reviews about this. And I feel like I only wanted to buy it because it was like a Pat McGrath bronzer and everyone's so into Pat McGrath. I'm like, I want to know because everybody else is going to be trying the Pat McGrath bronzer. I want to fit in. I forgot these launched this year, and to be honest with you, I'm trying to think of what all I've tried. I've tried the Pat McGrath foundation, which I didn't love. Her lip glosses I do like, and then I've tried her eyeshadow palettes. I don't feel like I've tried a ton from her, but like I don't think I'm not a Pat McGrath like stan. Like, yes, I think it's fun to collect her Motherships palettes, but only if you can get them 30 to 40% off. So I don't know, I think this was $38. I didn't need this. I don't miss it. I've really found some bronzers that I love this year, so glad I didn't purchase that. Ooh, okay, speaking of like bronzer slash contour, Milk Makeup came out with contour sticks this year, and I feel like I was kind of missing my Milk Makeup bronzer, like bronzing stick, so I was like, ooh, maybe I'll get the contour to try it. Well, I spent most of the year trying to pan the Huda Beauty contour stick, and I did finally get my way through that, so that's exciting, but I don't contour. unless I'm like trying to get through a product. So I feel like this just wouldn't have made sense for me to add this to my collection. And in fact, I did actually end up purchasing a Sephora favorite set this year that had the Milk Makeup bronzer stick in it. So now I have that back in my life and I'm perfectly happy with that. So I believe these sticks are $24. I'm just very glad I didn't spend my I'm very glad I didn't spend my $24 on a product that like I probably would have had to force myself to use. Okay, these duos, or not duos, these two singles from Charlotte Tilbury. I wanted this Charlotte Tilbury Hypnotizing Pop Shot, the pink one, like pinky purple one, so badly. But I was really hesitant because I believe they're $34, and I was like $34 on a shade that I could get at an indie place for less and probably even more sparkly than Charlotte Tilbury would provide. I've never owned like an actual Charlotte Tilbury pop shot, so like I don't know for sure. And I've seen them, they look so pretty on like Lauren May, and I've seen them on a couple other people and I'm like, they look so pretty, but $34 for a single eyeshadow is just gonna be way too much for me. So I didn't end up buying it. Trust me, there were moments where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy it, and then I'd be like, literally, like, this is ridiculous. So I didn't. And looking back, I'm very glad that I didn't, because I think I would have worn this a couple times and then just been like, okay. I have two more products to talk about. This one, I don't promise I will never own, but the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Tinted Balm, whatever. I love a lip balm, and you guys know the Lawless Forget the Filler lip gloss is my favorite lip gloss of all time. I think it's so beautiful, it's so good. And so naturally, I wanted to try the balm, and I think eventually I will because I just like want to know. But I've heard a lot of people say these actually aren't like that good. I recently got the Summer Fridays lip balm in a Sephora favorite set, and I know these aren't the same. This is like a stick balm versus this, but when it comes to a lip balm, I find a stick balm just is not hydrating like I like it to be. It's just not the same as something like this. On top of that, I think sometimes a pigmented lip balm can be one of those products that you really can't trust on your lips. Like, you just cannot trust it not to do you dirty. Like, it's gonna end up on your teeth, it's slippery, it's gonna end up like everywhere. So I think I'll just stick with my Lawless Forget the Filler lip gloss, and then like I can get my lip balm from elsewhere. But $26 too for a lip balm is so expensive. Again, I can't promise I won't ever purchase it, but I'm really glad that I didn't like instantly do an impulse purchase just because it was Lawless Forget the Filler. And I haven't like been sad that I don't have this in my collection. And even when I was building my cart for this most recent Sephora VIB sale, this is something that like I didn't even consider purchasing during this sale. Okay, and then the last thing that I have to talk about is actually the first makeup release that really caught my attention this year that I thought for sure I was gonna purchase. And this is like us going back to talking about sunburnt blushes, but from Tarte, the Tarte Glow Light Lip and Cheek Watercolor. I really wanted that like center hibiscus sort of shade. I just thought a glowy sunburnt cheek, like, count me in. This is something I literally thought about for months, but if I'm remembering correctly, it wasn't something that was available on Ulta or Sephora. It was available maybe on like QVC or the Tarte website, and that's just like, those are not the places that I shop. So I told myself if it ever came into Ulta or Sephora, then I would purchase it there. And then eventually I forgot about it and I never went to check, and I don't know if you could get it there or not anymore. Like, I don't know if this is even still available. But I was like going back through, and I got to like the beginning of this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I was so sold on this product. I was gonna get it. It was gonna be mine. I was gonna have these beautiful sun-kissed, sunburnt cheeks, and I'm really glad I didn't buy it because I totally forgot about it then. But you guys, after that, those are the 16 makeup releases that I'm glad that I skipped this year. I will say this year, I have not been as excited about the new releases like I have. I feel like I look at them and it's like, it all almost feels kind of like the same to me. I'm like, okay, like I cannot get so excited about every single makeup release. I will say I was so excited to test all of the things that I purchased during the most recent Sephora VIB sale, but they weren't necessarily like new releases that like I just was like buying right away. Like I really thought about a lot of the products that I purchased. Yes, there were some impulse purchases, but I don't know, I just was not feeling as inspired by the new releases this year. You guys will have to give me your feedback about how you were feeling about all the new releases in the comments down below. What were some of your top skips this year that you're really glad that you skipped and saved your money on? Let a girl know in the comments below. Other than that, you guys, thanks so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.